ladies and gentlemen, listeners all across the world, in the right corner, we have Sadako. And in the left corner, we have Kutaku.
No, it's Sadako.
No. It's Sadako versus the Ring.
Listen, I know you're excited and all, but let's get it right for the listeners. It's Sadako versus Kayako.
That's what I said.
All right.
Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want to peel. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want to peel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. This is episode number 3. My name is JP.
My name is Carly.
And we're back on the couch once again to review another horror film. So this time, as we mentioned in the last episode, that we are not going to exclusively limit ourselves to just Netflix, but it would have been a dumb thing to call it Netflix and Hulu and Shudder and
etc.
Crackle, etc. and Chill, right? So it's a streaming podcast, and we decided to venture outside of Netflix for this episode. It is my pick this week, and I chose Sadako versus Kayako. Okay.
Close enough.
I can't remember the title of this film to save the life of me.
Because you can't remember, I keep forgetting too, so I'm second guessing.
I thought that it should have just been called Ju-on versus Ringu.
Yeah.
Or The Ring versus The Grudge, because it's based in those franchises, I guess. They're both very weird franchises. I'm not exactly sure how many Grudge films and how many Ring films there are, both Japanese and English. I know there's a handful of each in Japan and a couple of each in the U.S. Trilogies, I guess, now.
Yeah.
So we decided to venture onto Shudder to find that film. It is a Shudder exclusive as of right now, as we record this on January 30th. The film is on Shudder, available for people to watch. Shudder is a fantastic streaming service, by the way. It has a few bugs that I've said in previous reviews of Shudder, but for the most part, it's a solid service. You know, it's $5 a month, which is way less than what most streaming services cost. And they're now kind of upping their game by getting these Shudder exclusives, you know, not only films that are making their streaming debut like Rob Zombie's 31, but actually like films that have not been released any other way in the US besides streaming, and they're exclusive to Shudder, like Sadako versus Kayako or whatever it's called.
You almost had it.
almost it counts. So that's what we're going to be reviewing tonight. I appreciate if you guys leave us feedback on this episode. It's probably going to be kind of a short one. I think we both kind of feel similar about this film. So Sadako versus Kayako, 2016. It is a film directed by Koji Shiraishi. Sound about right?
Sure.
I nailed it.
You did.
And he directed Slipmouth Woman as well as Grotesque. Both films I've not seen, but I have heard of Grotesque and Slipmouth Woman. It's the pairing of the two franchises out of Japan. This is a Japanese production, and it's finally made its way to the U.S. It did have a 2016 release in certain territories and in certain festivals, but it is officially a 2017 release for the people of the U.S. So it is available on Shudder. If you want to try out Shudder, you get a free two-week trial, I think.
Yeah.
If you sign up, and then it's $5 after that. They have a ton of films from like Blue Underground and stuff on there. But anyway, let's get into Sadako versus Kayako. The film, this is the IMDb description. Do you want to handle that, Carly?
The vengeful spirits of the Ring and Grudge series face off. Which I think it's kind of weird that I just realized it says the Ring and Grudge series, but this is like the Japanese.
Yeah, it should be the Sadako and Kayako series, or
Ringu and Juon.
Yeah,
I guess would be the proper term.
So that is not really a good description of this film.
No.
We'll get into a little bit more of what's happening in the film, but first I want to ask you, how familiar are you with this series? English and Japanese.
I've seen both of the American Rings, and I think I saw Ringu Part 2 back, like, when I was young, but that was back when I did not like subtitles, so I definitely did not pay any attention, so, you know, that basically doesn't count at all. But, and then I saw all 3 of the American Grudges and none of the, Japanese ones. But, I did see a movie just called Sadako, like a year or 2 ago. It was on Netflix, and that's not really good. It must have just been like another, like, no, I don't know. I don't understand the series really in Japanese. Like, I don't know what order they go in or anything. I just found it by accident.
Yeah, I would actually have to bring up Wikipedia to really even know how big the series is from each.
I know there's a lot of rings, it seems like.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, because there was, like, it was called, like, Ring Zero or something, and I think it was, like, a mini-series of it.
Yeah, I think that there was even, like, a Vietnamese remake of the Ring films or the Grudge films. So there's a bunch of different sort of, I guess, iterations of those films.
It's so confusing, too, because it's just, like, you know, like a girl with, like, the long hair and all that.
Yeah.
Like, all the same type films.
So my experiences with the films are, I've seen the American Ring, the American sequel to The Ring, which is Ring 2. And I seen the first Grudge film. Then I seen Ju-on, which is, I don't know where that fits into the Ju-on franchise. I don't think it's the first film for some reason. I think I remember that from talking to Dave Z.
Do they have different names, or is it
I
like
think they might.
Or...
I think they might, actually. I'm not sure. And I seen the original Ringu, Japanese version of The Ring. So, in my opinion, I think the American versions are the best out of all that I've seen. And I don't really like The Grudge at all.
I used to love it when I was younger and it first came out, but like I watched it a couple years back and it just does not hold up for me. Like, I much prefer The Ring.
Yeah, so this film basically opens up with, you know, a fright moment, you know, to get the juices pumping. And then we're introduced to 2 characters who are in a classroom where their teacher is talking about urban legends. And he mentions, which is kind of interesting because the director chose to shout out his own film with this mouth woman. And as well as they talked about, they might have mentioned the haunted house, like, Grudge thing, but they definitely mostly focused on the...
I don't even think they mentioned the Grudge one.
I think they did.
Really?
They might have. They might not have. Who knows? But they definitely mentioned the...
Tape.
The cursed tape, which is, I guess, Sadako?
Yeah. Kills you in 2 days, apparently.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was part of the original Ringu, or if it was always 7, but we know that in the American remake, which we're much more familiar with, obviously, seen it probably more times.
It's kind of hard because we don't know, like, we each have not seen, like, all the movies
in
this series. We're not that educated.
Definitely. So it's 2 days in this one. You die in 2 days after you watch the videotape. And basically, he's teaching this lecture on these urban legends, but he's focusing heavily on the Sadako myth. And he even says that he wrote a book on the Sadako mythology. And if anybody knows where an actual tape is, he would pay big money for it. So later we find these 2 young girls that were in that class, and they have to transfer a wedding VHS tape to a DVD, but they don't have VCR, so they go to buy a VCR at a pawn shop. They take it back home, and it just so happens that the cursed tape is in that VCR.
Yeah, there were many VCRs to choose from, it looked like, but
yeah,
they got the one.
And basically, they watch the tape, then they have to get uncursed or whatever, unringed or unsadaku'd. And then, meanwhile, like, that's like the first part of the story, but then there's another part where this girl had moved into this house that is grudged.
Yeah, I guess it's the original Grudge house, because I'm pretty sure it's the same, like, that's the point of that movie, is, like, that house was cursed with the people who died.
Yeah.
So, like, it's supposed to be the same house.
Yeah, while we were watching the movie, I was actually asking Carly about the Grudge side of things, because I haven't watched that movie in a long time. Well, I haven't watched the American version in a long time, and the Japanese version that I watched for the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Top 10 of 2002 show, it is just jarred in my memory, like shaking around. I barely remember it at all, and that movie was confusing to begin with. So I was asking her questions about it, and which, you know, obviously she's not super familiar with it, so it was like two idiots trying to figure out things.
It's like we saw, like, the movies I saw you did not see, and the vice versa.
Yeah.
So
basically, those two stories are happening separately, and then they come together at the end. And we'll remain relatively spoiler-free because it is such a new movie, even though we typically always do remain spoiler-free. Mm-hmm. It's a brand new movie. Like, it just came out last week.
Yeah.
So, thoughts on the film. First of all, these movies are not for me. I was a little excited to check this one out just because I was like, what the hell how can they bring these together? Like, this is like, you know, are they going to go full-fledged like Freddy versus Jason, or are they just like this, like an anthology? Like, what's going on here? So I was excited, but once it started, I just never really was with it.
No, me neither. It very much feels like kind of like a Ring film with, like, the Grudge, like, tacked in it, because they're like, oh, we gotta somehow make these connected. But, like, you know, with, like, Freddy versus Jason, like, that works because they're both, like, killers, like, they're humans.
Even though,
well, kind of.
Even though the Freddy vs. Jason does feel more like an Elm Street film.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
But I will say that it did feel more like a Ring film or a Sadako film or a Ringu film. And I like that about it because I don't really like the Grudge or the John series. I much like the mythology in the Ring a little bit more. I think the Ring's a little scarier. I never found the cat kid too creepy.
He's more like, I find him like almost comedic nowadays. Like when I was little, maybe it was creepy, but now it's just kind of like cringy.
Because I was asking you, I was like, why does this dude even talk like a cat? And you said that he was killed with his cat. Yeah,
which they didn't well, obviously, I guess it doesn't matter because it's a cat. But yeah, they both drowned in the bathtub together, so it's kind of like, that's how that happened.
And then we were talking about the girl version of the Grudge or whatever, the one that crawls and like makes that like sound or whatever. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but and I asked you, I was like, well, did she get drowned with a frog?
And the thing is, I think like all three of them are supposed to be connected, so I guess it's almost irrelevant if the boy got drowned with the cat, because like the woman didn't get drowned with the cat and the boy.
Why, she make the cat sound too?
No, I'm saying like all three ghosts were supposed to be one ghost, and I always thought like it was because the boy and the cat died the same way.
Yeah, but how are they all supposed to be the same ghost?
I thought they like turn in, like I thought the boy like turns, like it's the same like thing. It just turns into like, I might be wrong, I don't know. I swear this is what I thought my whole life though. Because like, you never see them in the same room,
it could be like one entity. Well, you definitely do in this movie.
Yeah.
So it might be like one entity, like the same type of thing possessing them, but different.
Yeah, I just always thought they were one with each other.
Yeah, so I found this movie super convenient. With it just so happens that these two girls who just learned about this tape all of a sudden find it in a pawn shop. Like, you know what? Get out of here. But I know there's super fans of these films, and I think the people that are big fans will enjoy this because it's like it seems like that they are. The people that I see that are huge fans are all talking good about it. Mm-hmm. I didn't love this one at all. There was a few cool moments, but for the most part, I just found it just almost lame at times.
It really was. It was just I don't know. Like, I can't describe it. It was just... It thought it had an idea, but it really just did not. It was just nothing.
Yeah, it was like... Like, there's a scene that it's, like, literally awkward and, like cheesy. They're like... She's like, my name is Yuzuki. I have a curse. You have a curse, too.
God.
We should get our curses to fight each other to the death.
It literally is like, we gotta get our curses to kill each other so that we don't get killed.
By the curses.
There's like a bunch of like lines that are just weird. It's just, the guy will just be like, yes, you're probably going to die tomorrow. Like, they're just like to the point, like, yeah, you're gonna get killed.
One of you two must sacrifice yourself so that the curses do not kill us or
like,
something.
Bullshit.
It's like, what are you talking about, bro? You sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. Be a man.
Yeah, there's just, and for those wondering, we actually did watch it subtitled. It was not dubbed because I did hear that the dubbed version was awful. So, you know, but to me, it just, I just never buy this stuff. And it's not just this film either. It's like all the Grudge movies. Like, I mean, maybe, I don't really remember the American remake too much, but like, even when I watched the original Ju-On, I did not find it scary. I found it silly. When, like, you can see the face paint of the kid, like, you can see that it's paint. Like,
yeah, that's
white.
like the really bad thing about it. It's just,
and
like,
these are CG.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's tons of CG in this, like the hair that's CG. And it's
yeah.
just like,
Oh my god.
yeah, and then like
I thought the Grudge girl looks terrible to me.
Yeah,
like, I don't know, just real bad.
Like, I can't tell if this film is supposed to be like a fun, almost like, let's not give a fuck about like plot and just like an awesome like fight to the death, like more of like a over the top, like sort of like cheesy type of thing, or if it's supposed to be playing serious. I don't know if it's lost in translation with the cultural differences between Japan and the United States. Also, I'm not a huge fan of this series, so I don't have perspective. And also, if there is a lot of nods to the previous films in the series, I'm not going to pick them up. So if it is a lot of wink to the audience, I'm missing all of that.
Or the wrong audience.
Yeah. I was hoping to find like a level of enjoyment for this film, considering for like somebody who, because I didn't know if it'd be watchable for somebody who is not interested in the franchises and haven't seen many of them. And it either is just not very good or it just doesn't appeal to people like me.
I think for me, like I knew more about the American versions than anything, so like it just doesn't make sense watching the Japanese. Like, it's hard. Like, if it was like Samora versus I don't even know what the Grudge girl's name is. It might be the same name, actually, Kayako in American. But anyway, if it was like those two versus each other, I feel like I would maybe enjoy that a little bit more just because I know more about them.
Yeah.
But
I kept calling the ring girl Samara anyway.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is Samara doing here?
It's pronounced like Samora too, like in the actual movie.
Yeah, whatever.
You can't do anything right.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
So, and another thing, like, I didn't understand, like, because it's been years since I've seen Ringu. I can't remember what was on that tape, but I don't think it was what's on this tape.
Oh, no, it's not at all. Like, it's the same as, like, you know, the American version's got all those creepy imagery up in it, and, like, this is, like, that's what this was, too, and because I don't think I ever saw Ringu all the way through, but I used to look up clips on YouTube just to compare them. And I remember, like, the videotape was actually pretty good and creepy. I don't know why they, like, don't use it now. Maybe
it could be
allowed.
A rights issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But yeah, the tape was really underutilized. Like, it didn't even seem scary. It was just an empty doorway.
Yeah. Like, what's even the point of, like, where's the well action and
Because
stuff?
that's what I think is the scariest part of those films is when they play that tape and it's just weird shit on the screen. And there was just, that was seriously lacking. And then I was wondering, because I don't know when the last Ring film was made in Japan, but I always wondered if they had connected it to the internet yet, you know?
I'm pretty sure in the movie Sadako, I think that came out in 2015, and it was on the internet, actually. Like, it was like they kept clicking on a link, and that was the cursed videotape.
That's what it should be by now.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, because...
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it would play well if it was on the, like, internet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's been an ongoing joke with the 22 Shots crew that it should be a digital copy. And,
I feel like a VHS tape is creepier than the internet, though. So it almost kind of sucks that it's, like, had to adapt to its surroundings.
Yeah, it is creepier, and that's why those films kind of only exist in that era.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Like, certain films just couldn't be made in today and be as, you know, as effective. Effective.
There you go.
Jesus Christ. I need food.
Same.
But, you know, honestly, guys, this is not going to be a long review. I just don't have much for it.
Yeah, I can't really even think of things to say. It's hard. Like, oh, and another thing, the well is, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be, like, in the backyard of the Grudge house. Or, like, near it, at least.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so how convenient. I remember sitting there, I was like, oh, look, convenient. The well is in the back of the Grudge house the whole time.
And I was about to say that, too. I was like, okay, I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
No.
One thing that I will say, to kind of backtrack a little bit on the VHS tape.
Yeah.
I believe that they did explain away why they're seeing this. I think the professor said that it shows you something unique for each person, or like it shows you it like you see something. I forget how exactly he said it.
No, I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, so I think that was like kind of a way to explain away why the footage is different, where like it shows something personal to you or something, or you know, something unique to you. I don't know,
which would be creepy.
Yeah, because it would solve a lot of problems when you're making the movie as well.
Good job, crew.
Dude, there's literally parts in this film that I have to believe that I'm just losing, like, they're lost in translation. I just don't get it, because there's scenes where I'm just like, oh my god, that's so awful. Like, there was a scene where, like, the two characters, like, meet, I guess you would say, like meet together without spoiling anything, hilarious. And I was just like, oh my god,
like,
are
it's
you
literally
serious
hilarious.
right now?
It's not scary, but yeah, like, not to keep bringing up Sadako, but that movie I watched before, it was almost like I couldn't tell if it was like a low budget sequel that someone was just making for money, or if like they were like, yeah, we're gonna keep this series going, guys, like, this is great stuff, people love this. Like, you really can't, you don't know, because you're not like...
Well, that was the one thing with the Sadako films, or the Ring films, or whatever. They were always low budget, I think.
Yeah.
Like, the American version is really big budget, and that's why I think it's really effective as well.
The Ring 2 is not that...
No.
It's very CGI.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the Ring series was always pretty low budget, as well as Ju-on. Like, Ju-on's super low budget. It's like it's super low budget. It even looks low budget. And I think that's why a lot of people find it so scary too, because it's like kind of like, oh, it's realistic looking or whatever. But yeah, I digress on that. Yeah, there was just so many moments in this film where I'm just like. Like, there was a funny moment. Like, this kid gets hit in the head with a rock, and I was like... Yeah. And then he gets hit again. I just think that the cat kid is always cheesy. Like, I never find him scary. I just find him lame, dude. He's just lame. He, like, hops on their shoulders and he's like, meow.
Yeah, and the kid looks like he's too old or too skinny or something. Like, I don't know, like, something about the way the kid looked just wasn't, like, the same character or something. Just wasn't sitting right with me.
Yeah. It was definitely, I don't know, just not what I expected.
Like, Sadako looks much better, obviously, because you don't really see her face at all. So, like, you don't need to, like, be painting it or, like, trying to make it look all special. Yeah, me too. She's creepy.
Yeah, she's a good character. I don't think the cat dude's cool.
No.
Dave Z, if he's listening, he's probably like, this fucking guy. Because he loves those films.
Really?
He's a super fan of them. Yeah. And I think he was one of the people that rated this like a 9 or something.
I really wish I would have watched
the
like,
other
all
ones.
of them.
Yeah, I do too. Because I feel like
should've.
this is a really unfair review.
Yeah, I feel like we're being jerk. I feel like people are like, these guys are posers.
Yeah,
they don't know what they're talking about.
If anybody's a fan of these films, they're probably like super annoyed with us. Like, have you ever heard somebody talk about like a Friday the 13th or something who's clearly only seen like one of them?
Yeah.
And then they're just generalizing the entire series. And like, it's not even fucking like that, dude.
Yeah. They know nothing about the storyline or anything.
Yeah. There's like, they're all the same and this, that, the other, you know? But meanwhile, they've only seen one. Anyway, so I think we'll kind of wrap this one up. Do you have much more to say about it?
Not really, no, I don't. I mean, like, I will say, like, I could pay attention to it. Like, I wouldn't say I was bored with it.
No, I definitely wasn't bored with it. Because even when making fun of it in certain aspects was kind of fun.
It is fun.
Yeah. So, let's go into ratings. I will go first this week. This film is just not for me at the end of the day. It's almost like I almost don't even feel comfortable rating a film like this, which I'm not a fan of either series, and this one seems like it was probably made for the fans, and I'm not. So it kind of just is like, not for me, not my cup of tea. But I know people love it. I'm sorry, guys, I can't get into this stuff that well. I only give it a 6 out of 10. I do think it was an above average film.
I'm actually going to agree. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 as well. At first I was thinking maybe like a 5, but I feel like I should give it more credit because it did entertain me and it was fun at points, but like he said, I mean, you can't tell if it's supposed to be serious or not. So it's almost
or at least
like,
we can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
They might be able to tell.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to do it for Sadako versus Kayako. All right, guys, since we had such a short conversation on the film this week, we decided that we was going to add this to the end of the show, and we might bring this back from time to time, maybe every other show. But basically, I just want to let you guys know what's streaming, what's on the streaming services this month. And, since the last time that we posted a show, which was the 20th till the 30th, I have a few, actually quite a bit of new releases out there, new to streaming anyway. So Amazon Prime, for you Amazon Prime users, got Rosemary's Baby. You've seen Rosemary's Baby?
Yeah.
Fantastic, right?
Yeah, it's like a 10.
Yeah, definitely a 10 out of 10. It also got The Thirsty Dead on Amazon Prime. And then Shudder got 3 titles on the 24th. They got The Prowler, which I've never seen. It's one of the rare slashers that I've... one of the mainstream slashers that I've never seen.
Me too.
Nesting, which I've never seen, and Uncle Sam, which we did see. We watched that a while ago.
You might have. I feel like I watched it and could not. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because
we kept stopping and
and then I watched it. I told you that I watched it by myself afterwards.
We failed.
Yeah. The Black Belly of the Tarantula was put on Shudder. Who Saw Her Die from Blue Underground and Venom. So I haven't seen any of those 3. I might have seen the Black Belly of the Tarantula, but I don't think I did. And then, of course, Sadako versus Kayako.
Look at that cover.
Came out on January 26th. Then Netflix got some titles. They got Sharknado: The Fourth Awakens. That's the fourth Sharknado.
Explicitive.
Have you seen any of those?
No, what? Like they're just milking that.
Yeah. And what the hell does that say? Cementerio General?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's on Netflix.
Okay.
Then the January 27th, 2017, got 3 more titles added to Amazon Prime. Island of Death, The Happiness of Katakuris, which is a Japanese film. It made a couple of top 10 of 2002s when we did that show on the 22 shots. And Dracula, I don't know what Dracula is. Dracula 2009? So that's on Amazon Prime. Then Epic's streaming service got Hostel and Hostel Part 2. And Amazon Prime got Hostel Part 1. And also got Night of the Slasher, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of Hostel?
I mean, it's alright. I've only seen it like
Boo.
one time. I'm not a big fan of the torture-y,
Yes,
hardcore
you are.
shit.
They're the best.
I can't.
Love Hostel Part 1 and 2. Eli Roth for the fucking win. Hulu got Hostel Part 1 and 2 as well. And yesterday, Amazon Prime grabbed the Amityville Horror remake, I believe, and a new film called Thirst, which I just rented from the Redbox, but haven't watched it yet. Speaking of which, I need to take that back tonight. Shudder got Grave Encounters, which is, I believe, a film that is out of print.
Really?
But it's a really good film.
I've never...
From what I understand, it's a found footage.
See, I've heard good and bad things about that, so I never knew. I never really looked into it.
It's either Grave Encounters or The Messengers, but I think it's Grave Encounters. That's really good. And then Netflix got the new IFC film, Anti-Birth, which I haven't seen. And then finally, Amazon Prime got Hostel Part 2. So that's everything that is going to be up for streaming as of right now, as of the time we're recording this. There's new stuff added every day, so make sure you guys check out all your streaming services. As well as every month, Netflix adds new titles. So there should be, actually, I think 3 new original horror films that I counted for February. Dang. So we'll have some stuff to cover, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It will be Carly's pick on the next show, which will be 2 weeks from now. And do you have anything in mind yet, or you still need to do some research?
I still need to research. I have not looked at anything. I haven't even been on Netflix really recently.
All right. So we'll let you guys know what we're going to be doing when that show airs. I hope you guys enjoy. And as always, you can check out the show on horrorphilia.com and, of course, my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/DoubleshotJ. Thank you, Jason Lloyd, for hosting the podcast. It will soon be up on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror as well. And we are thinking about making a Facebook group page. So let us know if you would like that. It would be a place to talk about the show and other things, Netflix, streaming, and other things like that. And do you have anything else to add?
Not really.
All right. I'm JP.
I'm Carly.
And we'll see you next time back on the couch.
Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill. Got a DM from a teenage beauty. Wants me to come to a spot and watch Goonies. So I slipped me a roofie. Then slid my dick in a slippery booty. Rolled up some reefer on the lower back while I beat that beaver. In the bedroom theater. Pulled it out of her ass, wiped off on my t-shirt. She want red wine and dinner, bitch. You getting red vines and Twizzlers. Soft porn, cock in the popcorn, show some respect. RoboCop song, blew me till the teeth hurt. Bust 2 nuts, that's a double feature. Who would've thunk it? Netflix, the new code word for fucking. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix